Hey friends, welcome back. So it is 5 a.m. Well, no, it's 5:30 a.m. and I'm getting ready before work. And today I wanted to do a Shop My Stash Get Ready with me. And I really dug into my makeup collection and pulled out items that I have not used in the longest time here on my channel. The first thing that I pulled out of my makeup collection to use is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So I'm pretty sure that Huda Beauty doesn't make this palette anymore. I'll have to look, but I think this has been discontinued, and this is the only Huda Beauty palette that I kept in my makeup collection. This is what the shades in this palette look like. And this was like one of those palettes that I bought because everybody was hyping this up so much, and then I never used it much. So, and it's a really good palette. So I don't know why I don't tend to reach for this. And from what I remember, this palette didn't have fallout, but I just want to use it first before I do the rest of my makeup because I was just really excited to use this. And I'm just priming my eyelids with the Milani eyeshadow primer. So hopefully this video today inspires you to dig into your makeup collection and maybe use some makeup products that you have not used in a really long time. I'm just using my blending brush from that Amazon brush set that I use all the time. I'll have that set linked down below. And any of these products, if I can link them, I'll have them linked, but I'll list everything that I use down below. But first, I'm going to go in with the shade Eden, the shade here. Did any of you guys, or do any of you guys own the Huda Beauty palettes? I mean, I know that she still makes her eyeshadow palettes, and she's come out with so many different ones over the years. But the last Huda Beauty palette that I bought was, I think, the new Nudes eyeshadow palette, and I ended up decluttering that one a while back. But I don't know, there's just something about this one. It's just different than a lot of the other eyeshadow palettes that I have in my makeup collection. And so I just wanted to keep it because it was my first Huda Beauty palette that I ever purchased. And I just thought that the shades in here are unique, even though I tend to not reach for this as much. But I feel like I have been drawn to more warm toned eyeshadows like this. So I figured let's bust this out and give it another try. Every time I pull this palette out, I want to use Amethyst in the shade here, Twilight, just because I'm so drawn to purple. So I'm going to go in with Amethyst, and I just got it here on the Sigma E25 blending. Make sure I tap off the excess, and I'm just going to blend this here in the outer V. But like, what was your favorite, or what is your favorite Huda Beauty palette? I don't know if I finished what I was saying a second ago. I know that like the palette that kind of made these Huda Beauty, like, well, I mean, I know that she had other products that made her really popular, but the Rose Gold palette, when she first, that was like her first palette, I believe, that she released, and people went crazy over that. I never bought that palette, and I'm pretty sure this Desert Dusk palette was the second one she released after the Rose Gold palette. Huda Beauty, like, there's a lot of things that I have not really tried from that brand. Like, have you all used many things from Huda Beauty? Like, is there anything that you would recommend? Like, leave your recommendations in the comments, because I'm just curious to see what you guys think. Just using a flat shader brush, and I'm just gonna make that a little darker out here on the last part of the eyelid. And then I'm going back with that blending brush and getting a little bit more Eden on there, and I'm just gonna blend around the edges. Okay, I think I'm going to use Twilight on the first part of the eyelid. So I'm just flipping that shader brush over to the side that's clean, or the cleaner side, I should say. Just tap off the excess. And then I'm just going to pat that, which this shade is having a bit of fallout. Like, it probably would be best to use this with like a setting spray. And this palette is a bit older, so I'm sure some of the shadows have like dried out from like what their original formula was like. But that is so pretty, so unique. I don't think I have another like shade like that in my eyeshadow collection, my palettes. It's like a duochrome, like kind of like a purple blue, sort of iridescent color. But I kind of wish I would have kept the new Nudes palette. Like, it was a palette that had like pink and purple sort of shades in it, mauve. So I think that's all I'm gonna do on the eyeshadow for now until I get like my foundation and everything on. So next I'm gonna use this. This is another one of the Sun Touchable from e.l.f. I feel like my camera has been so slow to focus recently. This is just the invisible sunscreen. Like the other day I used the Woe Glow, which this one has like a shimmer in it where this one doesn't. This is just a really nice, just glide on easy primer with sunscreen in it. So, and I like to use this one when I don't want to add like added glow to my face. And then for my foundation, I'm going to use the L'Oreal True Match Serum Tint, the True Match Nude Serum Tint Foundation. And I ended up purchasing some pumps for this. I'm finally like one of the cool kids. But I ordered these off of Amazon. They came in a set of 4. So I'll have that link down below in the description box. Like if you've been looking for a pump for this foundation, and this one fits really good. It fits really well on this foundation and also on the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. So I'm just going to be mixing, maybe, I don't know, maybe this shade is okay. This is 0.5-2, very light, but I might mix just a little bit of 2-3 light with this one. I found that very light. It actually, I wouldn't consider it to be a very light shade, but I'm going to kind of mix those two. And then I'm just going to dot this around, and then I'll blend this out with my sponge. I'm starting out with like a really light amount, but I'll probably add a little bit more of this. I just don't want to apply too much today. But this is one of my favorite foundations. I mean, like obviously, as you can tell, like I've used a lot of it up. And I feel like I don't really use it a lot in videos. Like I was going back and looking at my recent videos over the past few months, just seeing like what foundations and what products I had used, just to make sure I'm not using any of those products in this video. Since I'm doing like a short mustache, I'm getting a little bit more foundation. But yeah, I don't even know the last time I've used this L'Oreal Serum Foundation on my channel, but it's a really good one. It's got a luminous finish. It lasts well on the skin all day. Like it doesn't look too heavy. It's really pretty. Like if I had to pick between this one and the Maybelline foundation, I would pick the L'Oreal one. Like if somebody was like, you can only have one of these in your collection, I would pick the L'Oreal. I don't know. I just like this one slightly a little bit better. I mean, they're both pretty similar, but I just like the finish slightly a little bit better on this L'Oreal one. But I mean, I still like the Maybelline one, but if I had to pick between the two, this one. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go really light on the application today of that, but you can just see that there's just like a slight glow with this. Hopefully I got things blended well over here. And then like for my concealer, honestly, I don't have a lot of concealers in my makeup collection, and I feel like I do a pretty good job of rotating them in my videos, but I'm just gonna use the Rimmel Multitasker. I know I use this one a lot, but this is just like my fave right now. So I'm just gonna dot that. And then to set my under eyes, I'm also just using a product that I use all the time just because I really like this. But I'm just using the L'Oreal Infallible Blur Perfection. This just does a really good job of setting the under eyes, blurring that area out, not looking too heavy or cakey. So that's why I love using that for an under eye setting powder. But to set the face, so I bought this About Face. This is the Curtain Call Set and Smooth Loose Powder in Bow. And I bought this a while ago, and I think I've only used this like a couple of times, and I think I've only used this once in a video. So I really need to use this setting powder more. I think because it's got the little sifter thing, I just don't tend to use it as much. Plus it is a little bit more like on the high end pricing, so I tend to not reach for it as much. But I'm just gonna apply that with my e.l.f. flat top brush. Yeah, I think it's just the sifter I don't really like. I know like sometimes people will like cut those out, and I might end up doing that. But it's like one of those things where I think in my video where I was using this for like the first time or something in a video, I had mentioned that the sifter, I liked it because it kept me from overusing the powder. But I don't know. It's like also one of the things that's keeping me from wanting to use this powder. I feel like I need more coverage on my nose. It just seems like it needs a little bit more coverage there. Just going to take a little bit of this concealer. It probably would have made more sense to do that before I powdered, but yeah, I think like with this Curtain Call powder, it's like, it's not anything amazing. And I feel like some of the other YouTubers that I saw like reviewing this powder really hyped it up. And I'm like, it's not really any better than any other powder in my collection. I don't know. I just don't really get the hype on this. Have any of you guys bought this powder? Like, do you feel the same? Because I just don't really feel like it's anything special. Okay, I took that powder and foundation off of my lips, and I'm just going to moisturize with the Vaseline Rosy Lips. Okay, for brows, I pulled out this CoverGirl. It's just like a CoverGirl brow pencil in soft brown. I don't even know if CoverGirl makes this. This is the ultra fine brow pencil. I don't know if they still make this. I know they have different ones now, like with their Clean Fresh line. So I've had this brow pencil for quite some time, like back when CoverGirl used to send me PR. After I took like that long 3-year break, a lot of the companies that sent me PR, obviously they stopped sending it to me because I wasn't doing videos. And I haven't gotten any PR from them since I came back. Like they haven't reached out to me, which maybe I should try to reach out to them. But this is, like I said, in the shade Soft Brown. I find this one to be a close shade to the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil in Neutral Brown. They're pretty much like the same shade. So I really need to use this CoverGirl one up, especially since I've had it for like a really long time. It's just like one of those things that gets like buried, you know, in my makeup collection, and I get kind of on a kick of using the same brow product all the time. I don't know if you guys are like that. I feel like brows are just like one of those things that like once you find your products and the way you like to do your brows, it's like, at least for me, I don't really like switching it up too much. And then I also pulled out the Maybelline Super Fluff. I purchased this a while back, and this is in the shade, I think, Deep Brown. I don't know if it says on here. Yeah, Deep Brown. And this is another one of those products, kind of like the Curtain Call powder from About Face. I feel like this was kind of hyped up too, and it's just like, it's just a tinted brow gel, nothing special, at least in my opinion. And I kind of don't like the wand on this. Like, I feel like it's too big. And the tip on this kind of just holds a lot of the product. and can just mess up like the front of your brows when you're trying to apply it. So I mean, me personally, if I'm going to use a tinted brow gel, I just like the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It's more affordable. I like the brush better. So, like, I'll use this fluff. At least I'll try to use it up since I purchased it. And it's not a terrible product, but it's not really worth the price. I mean, the packaging on it is cute, but just like one of those things that it's just like, it's okay. And sometimes I feel like it just makes my brows look a little too matte. And I don't like that about it. Like, I like my brows to have a little bit of like a shine to them, because sometimes I find if my brows look overly flat, it just looks off. Okay, we're gonna move back to the Huda palette and finish out the eyes. So I'm getting some more of Amethyst on the tip of the Sigma pencil E25, or E30, not E25. And I'm just gonna blend this here on the lower lash line. This is actually such a pretty purple color. I should definitely use this palette more, especially when I want to create like a purple eyeshadow look. It's more of like a warm tone purple. And I don't really know if this palette has like a good inner corner highlight for me, but I'm going to try to use this shade in Angelic, this one here, and just see what that looks like in the inner corner. It might be a bit too like pigmented or too colorful, not too pigmented. Yeah, it's not really the right tone. I'm just going to put a little bit here on this eye too, just to balance it. But for the inner corner, I'm just going to use just like my regular inner corner highlight from Wet n Wild, just out of the Walking on Eggshells. I'm going to use the cream shade. So yeah, that Desert Dust doesn't really have good highlighting shades for me, with my skin just being more light, like lighter than the other shades in the palette. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that in the inner corner and on the brow bone. So now we're moving on to bronzer, and I pulled out a couple of high-end bronzers that I have not used in a while. So Nars Laguna, this was like my favorite bronzer way back in like 2014, 2015, 2013, I don't know. So I want to use this today, and I know that this was kind of like the bronzer I would reach for in the winter because it was a little bit lighter. So if this is too light, I also pulled out Charlotte Tilbury, her airbrush bronzer. This is in 2 medium, I believe. And while I took that three-year break from YouTube, this was my go-to bronzer. I used it every single day. Like, as you can see, I hit major pan on it. And I feel like since I've been back here on YouTube, I've bought, you know, more bronzers to like test out for you guys, and just kind of got back into my drugstore bronzers. So bronzer is like another one of those things, especially if I'm not doing videos, where I just find one that I like and just stick to it, kind of like brows. I'm just going to use this buffing foundation brush from Profusion. I'm just going to kind of contour with that a little bit. But yeah, like as you can see, this bronzer is like very light, Nars Laguna. And I've had that Nars Laguna for quite some time. I'm pretty sure the packaging is a little bit different on that now. And who knows, the bronzer itself might actually be a little different now. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the Sigma Large F30. And I'm just gonna put that in the areas where I would get tanned by the sun. But yeah, if you're looking for, and I feel like there's just so many bronzers now that, you know, from, you know, high-end bronzers that are probably way better than this. But back in the day, this was like one of those cult favorite type of bronzers, I feel like, here on YouTube. And I mean, it is good, but like I said, there's drugstore bronzers out there that are just as good as this. But I think like the tone of this is just really good. It's not too intense. It's not too orangey. I think that's why I always liked this. So I'm just putting some here on my nose, on the jawline, on the neck, and I probably will go in with a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury one just to kind of warm up the face a little bit, just to deepen things up. What is your current favorite high-end bronzer right now? Are you more into like liquid, powder? Are you just like mainly a drugstore bronzer type person? I do want to try at some point the Laura Geller products, like her baked bronzers and blushes and things like that. I know that, you know, I hear a lot of great things about her products. So have any of you guys used any of the Laura Geller products? Like, what would you recommend? We're going for a lighter, like not super overly bronzy look today. So that's those two bronzers. And the Nars Laguna does have like a slight kind of shimmer in it. And the Charlotte Tilbury is completely matte. Okay, for blush. So these are the two blushes that I pulled out to use. This is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in Pretty Peach. So I bought this the same time that I bought this one here, which is in Bold Heart. And I know I've used Bold Heart in a video, but I'm pretty sure I have not used Pretty Peach. And then I also bought some more of the Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes, and this is in Bed of Roses. And I also don't think I've used this in a video, or if I have, it's been like maybe once. So these two blushes are very similar in like color. It's just one is a little lighter, this one, and has like a sheen in it. So I might go in with the matte first and then top it with that shimmery blush. Just using the Morphe M241 in the Wet n Wild Bed of Roses. So it's just like a really pretty peachy pink. I really should use this also a bit more. It's just like an easy everyday blush color. Not too intense. I feel like it's pretty neutral, would go with like a lot of different makeup looks. And then let's top it with the Essence in Pretty Peach. And technically, like with the Pretty Peach, I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily need to use a highlight, but I did pull one out that I have not used in a while. And I'm gonna get a sip of my coffee. I need more coffee this morning. Okay, so I pulled out the Flower Beauty little highlighting palettes. This is another product that I'm not for sure if this is made anymore. This might also be discontinued, but I want to use the gold in this. And this is like a really intense highlight, so I'm just gonna get a little bit on there, dab it off, and just lightly apply it. But I always remembered liking this highlighting palette just because I felt like it didn't really highlight textured too much, even though it was like an intense highlight. Just going back with my sponge, tapping that out. But see, it's just a pretty glowy highlight. I'm like, is there a setting spray I haven't used in a while? I mean, I've got like the Urban Decay All Nighter, the Maybelline, the Milani Make It Last, and the LA Girl setting spray. And then I've also got like the L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist stuff, but I only use that like when I really want my makeup to last like really, really well and stay kind of matte. So, and I want to bring some glow back to this. So let's use the LA Girl setting spray. I may have used this recently in a video. I can't really remember, but this does add a nice glow. So I'm just gonna let that dry, and then I'll come back and figure out what I'm gonna use for my mascara and also like on my lips. Okay, I got my clothes on for today, and I'm just gonna go ahead and curl up my lashes. And I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal Mascara again. I know it's been a minute since I've used this. I just always get stuck on my Maybelline Lash Sensational. It's just like my favorite mascara, so I just use it all the time. It's also another one of those products, if I find a good mascara, I can just continually use that. It's like I do, you know, sometimes get excited about new mascaras coming out, but it's just like one of those things that I'm not, like I don't get super excited, so I can just stick with like one mascara for a long time. But this L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal Mascara, I do like it, but I don't like using it on the lower lash line because it does have a tendency to smudge on me. So I usually just end up using either the e.l.f. Lash Extender on the lower lashes or my Maybelline Lash Sensational. Or sometimes I might just like skip putting mascara on my lower lashes altogether. But I do think that this L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal Mascara, it is a little bit more lengthening than volumizing compared to the Maybelline Lash Sensational. Like, what is your favorite mascara that you could just continually use and not buy another new mascara? Let us know in the comments. Like, do you also like the Maybelline Lash Sensational? Like, what is your go-to mascara? And I'm not going to put anything on the lower lashes today. So now I got to figure out like what I want to use on my lips. That was like the one thing that I didn't dig out of my collection. I just wanted to wait until after I had my makeup done to figure out like what I wanted to use. So I'm just gonna take a look here. I think first I'm gonna line my lips with the Revlon Superstay lip liner in Nude. I know that I use this quite often, but I want to use this. And then for my lipstick, I'm just going to use one of the CoverGirl Clean Fresh lip balms, tinted lip balms, and this is in Life is Pink. And I might actually intensify this blush just a little bit now that I got the lips on. I'm just going in with the Bed of Roses from Wet n Wild. And I might take a little bit of this Bed of Roses on a blending brush, and I'm just going to blend that at the top of the crease. Okay. So that is this makeup look completed. Shop my stash. So I hope that this inspired you to dig in your makeup collection and use some makeup products that you have not used in a while. If you enjoyed this, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know like any video requests that you have, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.